This is Wellness Buds, and I am your host, Stella Wingfield.
And I'm Laura.
Today's episode is inspired by the following quote. Define success on your own terms. Achieve it by your own rules and build a life you are proud to live. Anne Sweeney. I really like this quote because, as I've said before, in more or less words, we are the captain of our own ship. We control our lives, and if you're not proud of the life you're currently living, the good news is you can change it. Live a life that you're proud to live. If you'd be embarrassed by a loved one finding out about something you've done or something you're about to do, maybe you should reconsider doing those things. You know, I've talked a lot about it before, but I've definitely lived embarrassingly when I was younger. I've done tons of things I am not proud of, but luckily I am not really that person anymore. Like, I obviously still am that person, but I don't really know her. I've grown a lot. Chances are whoever's listening right now, you've changed a lot in the past 5 to 10 years, or you're currently working on that change, and that's fantastic. As 2 Chainz says, no matter what you do, don't let them judge your past. And it's all about moving forward and making better decisions, learning from those moments that you aren't necessarily proud of. The past is the past. Let it live there. Move on and move up. Much like your decisions in life build upon one another to get you where you are, proteins, today's topic, are the building blocks of your human body as you know it. And that's the only way I knew how to segue into protein. So cool.
Let's go protein.
Yeah, every cell in your body has protein in it, and protein is involved in nearly every biological function. Proteins do most of the work in cells and are necessary for the structure, function, and regulation of the body's tissues and organs. When we talk about structure, some proteins provide cells and tissues with rigidity. These proteins include keratin, elastin, and collagen. Keratin is a structural protein found in your hair, skin, and nails. I'm sure a lot of the female audience here has heard of keratin conditioners or keratin treatments for your hair. Collagen is actually the most common protein in your body, and I did not know that. Collagen is the structural protein of your skin, bones, ligaments, and tendons. So when you look at the bigger picture, protein allows your body to move. I'm sure a lot of people have also seen collagen supplements, whether it's in a pill or powder form. I personally take collagen because it's vital in supporting skin health, nails, joints, and honestly, gut health is why I started taking it in the first place.
I feel so obnoxious because collagen, I'm like, yeah, your nails and hair. And now I'm like, or like everything in your body, okay.
Yeah, all the things. Your freaking gut depends on it. And elastin, in case anyone's curious, I didn't know this before researching the episode either, that elastin's high elasticity permits many tissues in the body to return to their original shape after stretching and contracting. So like literally after all of your movements, if you're working out, that is what allows the tissues to go back to normal. So that's pretty cool to know about. Your body also needs protein for growth and maintenance of tissues. With your body constantly turning over proteins, though, we need adequate intake of protein to allow these processes to function as they should. Usually your body breaks down the same amount of protein that your body uses to build and repair tissues, but other times your body breaks down more protein than your body can create, therefore increasing the amount that your body needs. And that's why those who strength train and work out need a bit more protein than someone who's not as active, because your body needs those proteins to repair those muscles. Especially if you're trying to build or maintain muscle mass, you need protein for sure in order to do that. Protein is also great for bone health, for your information, and certain proteins act as messengers such as hormones, and protein and polypeptides make up most of the body's hormones. If you didn't know, that's an interesting thing.
So you're saying protein is why I'm crazy?
For sure. But I mean, it's like the different kinds of hormones that assist with transmitting cues to harmonize your biological processes between the different organs, tissues, and cells. So yeah, I mean, they do make you crazy, but they also make you. Some examples, though, include insulin, which signals the uptake of glucose into the cell, Antidiuretic hormone, ADH, signals the kidneys to reabsorb water. And ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, which, thanks, I need a clap for that because damn, which prompts the release of cortisol, which is a vital component in metabolism. I know we talked about water last week, so proteins have some similarities with water. Proteins also aid your body to maintain proper pH levels. Another similarity to water, transport proteins carry substances like vitamins or minerals throughout the bloodstream into, within, or out of cells. One example is hemoglobin, which carries oxygens from your lungs to your tissues in the body. Some proteins also act as storage, such as ferritin, which was cracking me up when I was researching it because all I can think about is Elmer, your little fur friend.
And all he eats is protein.
He need that protein.
That man a carnivore.
Yeah, so ferritin, though, is a storage protein, and it stores iron for the body. So that's kind of cool to know about, especially for me. I know that vegetarians can sometimes be more prone to iron deficiency, so can never forget ferritin, Elmer, the iron storage little fur baby.
Yes.
Enzymes are proteins that facilitate thousands of biochemical reactions that take place both inside and outside of your cells. Some bodily functions that rely on enzymes include digestion, muscle contraction, energy production, and blood clotting. Proteins also control processes within the body that help with acid-base balance, as well as fluid balance by attracting and retaining water through albumin and globulin.
This episode's a tongue twister.
Yeah, y'all are going to have to forgive me because some of these words, though. But those two things are really interesting, the albumin and globulin, because if you don't get enough of these proteins, those two types will eventually reduce, and as a result, these proteins can't keep blood in your blood vessels where it belongs, and the fluid has no other choice but to spill out into spaces between your cells. So
why does that sound so gross?
It's not great because then, I don't know if you've ever seen someone with edema or like swelling, but that's what's happening. I've seen it, I guess, with all like my health classes and stuff, pictures of swollen legs and like especially like knees, ankles, but it also can really happen in the stomach area, which I guess is kind of common for that to be the area where the swelling happens if you don't have enough of those two. So yeah, not good, just really not good. Proteins also assist in the formation of immunoglobulins, aka antibodies, which I think most people know in the era of a pandemic that antibodies are essential for your body's immune response to help fight infection, bacteria, etc. Proteins are also involved with all aspects regarding wound healing and tissue regeneration. So the healing process starts with proteins like bradykinin, which dilate blood vessels at the spot of the injury, and then a protein called fibrin helps secure platelets that form a clot, which, as we know, makes the bleeding stop. So you can see protein is incredibly essential. That's why we fucking need it. It's, if anyone's ever taken any health class ever, I think people know about macronutrients, the nutrients that your body uses in largest quantities. And those three are fat, carbohydrates, and protein. So yeah, your body needs a lot of it.
Also, like, did you have a mom? I feel like even your mom was like, you gotta eat your protein.
Oh yeah, moms. We'll get there. But yeah, I think it's kind of just an interesting thing to know that protein is the most filling of the macronutrients. It helps control appetite. So if you have enough of it, it really helps control hunger, which I know people are very interested in that sort of thing. So if you're chronically hungry, maybe you're not getting enough protein. I don't know. Could be it. But now that we have a basic understanding of why your mom was always telling you to have protein, another thing that is interesting is that proteins are made up of hundreds of thousands of smaller units called amino acids, which are attached to one another in long chains linked together by peptide bonds to create proteins in the body. And I feel like most people probably have heard of amino acids, but maybe not necessarily known that part of it. Laura's raising her hand, so people can't see that girl.
I know, but like, do we have to announce how basic I am? I already admitted to my collagen negligence.
But I think a lot of people don't know about this kind of stuff, and that honestly, not like it makes me feel good that you don't know it, but it makes me feel good knowing that we're going over stuff that like people might not really know about. Because when I'm writing all of this, I'm thinking to myself, is just like the most basic shit ever that people already know about, and they're gonna be like, why are you doing this episode when this is common knowledge, you know? But I've taken so many classes that some of it is definitely new for me too, but a lot of it is also like, yeah, I know this, and I feel just so rudimentary typing all of this and speaking about it because I'm just wondering how basic it is or if this is valuable for people to know. So you're validating this episode, so thank you.
I validate all those basic bitches.
But it is just so important for everyone to know. So I'm just really, honestly, it just makes me happy that I'm not going over this for no reason.
If no one else, me.
Yeah, well, I'm positive that you are not the only one, girl. Positive. There are 20 different types of amino acids, and they can be combined to make a protein. 9 of these are essential, and 11 are non-essential, since they are made by the body. Since protein is made up of amino acids, it's pretty important to make sure that we get all the amino acids that we need. Not every source of protein that we eat is the same. Some proteins are complete or high quality, which just means that these sources contain all the essential or all the kind of amino acids that our body does not naturally make. So these sources have essential amino acids in good proportion to build proteins within the body. Some examples of complete proteins are eggs, fish, meat, milk, soy, and quinoa. Limiting protein or low-quality protein just means that it's incomplete. So if you've ever heard anyone using that term, a limiting protein, that's what it means. There are essential amino acids present, but just not in sufficient amounts. So they limit the body's ability to make or build protein. And this includes legumes and grains. However, you can easily consume complementary proteins to get all essential amino acids, and it doesn't even need to be in the same time, but throughout your day. Some examples of combinations that is brought to you by my notes from school, but pita and hummus, or peanut butter on wheat bread, or rice and beans, which is pretty classic combo anyway. But yeah, these complement each other to give you what one may be lacking in certain amino acids, the other one will fulfill. So I don't know if audience members really want me to go into protein digestion, but this process explains why getting all essential amino acids is so important. So you think we should go for it?
Let's give it a good little sweep, girl.
Okay. Try to be as brief as I can. But it is a complicated thing too, so all right, here we go. First, when we digest protein, the protein denatures. Basically, your body uncoils the protein strands, and then your stomach helps the uncoiling process. The tangled strands allow enzymes to just like go in and attack it and break down the peptide bonds. And yeah, so it helps break it down. The pancreas neutralizes the acid to continue the breakdown of amino acids into smaller chains. And the cells along the small intestine absorb single amino acids. So just like one of them and then dump them into the blood. Absorbing large amounts of a single amino acids can interfere with absorption of other amino acids, which is why it's so important to get all the different kinds. Your body doesn't just want one. It needs all the different kinds to like pair up eventually.
It gets jam-packed.
Yeah, but it like breaks it down to just one, and it's like, bloop, here's this kind, bloop, here's this kind, bloop, here's this kind, and then your body transports those amino acids throughout, and then they're just like, bloop, I'm picking you up, bloop, I'll pick this one up, to like build the things that they need, like we just talked about. All those important functions, the transport, structure, storage, messenger, enzymes, antibodies, they're like picking and choosing, they're cherry picking within your blood of like, oop, I need that one, oop, I need that one. And then the cells synthesize protein and break down returning amino acids to circulate back in the amino acid pool. And that's what I meant by your body is constantly recycling protein and why there is protein turnover. More amino acids are recycled than supplied by the diet. And when I reread about the body and learning about all this stuff, it's just truly incredible what our bodies are doing while we're doing a million other things, and this is the last thing that we're usually thinking about. It's just one reason why I'm always preaching preventive health and why your diet really matters, and what you fuel yourself with matters. And if you want all the processes inside of your body to happen for normal functioning, you should care about this kind of stuff. So that is my 2 cents. Food is fuel. And even though it can be really comforting sometimes, it is really important to remember that you're eating these things for a reason. Your body needs these things.
Stella is such a food is fuel lady.
Josh hates it.
Josh is a food is for glory kind of man.
He's like, if it doesn't taste good, I don't want it. And I'm like, well, if this recipe didn't go as planned, but it still has all these things my body needs, like, I'm just gonna eat it. Like, I don't really care.
Well, I mean, once it's done, I'm like, I gotta eat it now.
Yeah.
The pasta.
I know. Spoiler alert. We did a pasta dish for a cooking episode, and you'll hear all about it, but it was definitely for fuel.
Yes.
Yeah, so not only are consuming proteins totally incredibly necessary, but so is making sure you're getting enough essential amino acids. It's recommended for athletes or people exercising, weight training. I'm assuming from what I was reading in my notes, it just said exercising, but I don't know. I'm guessing that means weight training.
Those of you that are putting in the work.
You should be having about 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. Younger and older people need more, as do lactating or pregnant individuals. My notes indicate an extra 10 to 15 grams. But timing is also key. You want to have your protein relatively evenly spaced throughout your day. And that's why those recommendations are kind of per meal, because that's what you should be aiming for throughout your day. Because just having a whole bunch at one time, your body's like, whoa, that's a lot of protein. Come on now. I'll also note that while doing my research, I found that although athletes' protein needs are greater than that of non-athletes, they're not as high as you might think. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, Dietitians of Canada, and the American College of Sports Medicine recommend 1.2 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for athletes, depending on training, whereas the typical individual needs about 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So it isn't really like significantly more, but it is definitely more. And I just wanted to point that out because I did talk about that a little bit ago. So for everyone though, protein intake should be evenly spaced. It doesn't matter. It needs to be timed out appropriately. And if you are working out, definitely after your workout, your body needs that. And while researching this episode, I learned that some amino acids and proteins can be disassembled and utilized to make energy, which, like, I did talk about that in one of the uses, but I just didn't realize how little of that is actually, like, it happens, but only 10% of dietary proteins are catabolized each day to make cellular energy. If your diet does not contain enough carbs and fats, though, your body will use more amino acids to make energy, which definitely just messes up the synthesis of new proteins and destroys muscle proteins. So this is super beneficial to know. If you are trying to build muscle and you're putting in the work but not seeing the results after consistent month after month after month after training. Looking at your diet could be key. Are you getting enough amino acids and protein? Because like I just said, if you're not, it will destroy your muscle proteins. So yeah, and then on the flip of that, if you're eating more protein than your body needs, your body will break down those extra amino acids and transform them into fat. So if you had to guess what the heck I would say next, what would it be?
Moderation!
Yeah,
Like, meat moderation, though, gets a little more complicated, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, having sufficient protein is where I would say it's imperative to have the right balance, but meat moderation is definitely complicated and controversial.
Let's just hit the hot topic. When it comes to red meat, is moderation key? Because there's a lot of talks about how red meat is like the no-go zone of all the meats, and it's not great for you. But there's also ones that are like, in moderation red meat isn't great. Like, don't eat a burger 3 meals a day. But they say one burger is whatever and fine and all these different ones. So where does it really land?
We will pick up on that next time. Product of the week. Pow! This week's POW is my favorite fuzzy robe. It's everything. I didn't realize that I needed it until I saw yours, Laura, when we went to the Kennedy School however many years ago.
I am the fuzzy queen. Fuzzy for life. All things fuzzy.
I know. Well, not only the fuzziness, but just the Pacific Northwest and going into a hot tub or hot water, jacuzzi, hot springs, all the hot things. But then the contrast of cold, it's like, fuck, I have 4 silky robes, but bitch, that is not it on a cold day.
No, not at all. They need to be warm and fuzzy because they're like bigger too, so you're just bundled in.
Yeah, and mine has a hood. I don't know if yours does.
Mine does not.
Oh, I fucking love the hood part.
Need to step it up.
I just thought about this because of the girls' weekend, and I brought it, and I was the only one, and people were like, damn, I need that. I'm like, yeah, you really do. It's the one item that you don't realize that you need until you see someone else with it.
And they're so great. Like, they just make after the shower, I'm just like, I'm going to take my 30 minutes of me time in this robe.
Yeah, or if it's cold, sometimes I'll just kind of wrap it around me like it's my actual blanket, but in a hoodie form, robe form. Yeah, that like goes down basically almost to my ankles. It's like mid-calf. But yep, it's incredible. Love it. Love just hanging out in it after the shower too.
Comfort level 100.
1,000. Okay, I think that's all I can say about a robe, but I will link it. It's everything. I want to say the one that I found on Amazon, it's like very close to what I have, and I think it's $50, but it's also like the best $50 that you'll ever spend because you'll just have it forever. And for every trip that you ever go on, it's there for you. I
mean, mine was a Christmas gift from my mom at a time where I lived in her house, so that was like at least 10 years ago.
And it's still holding strong.
Still warm as hell.
Yeah, all you need. All right, well, thank you everyone for listening and nerding out with us during this month's theme of how certain things we consume impact our body and health, and why these items are so imperative for optimal body functions. Feel free to call or text our business line 971-292-5565 or email us at wellnessbudspodcast@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions for future episodes, questions, if you want to share anything about your personal journey with food, water, protein, sugar, or if you want to share your peaks and valleys of your week, we would love to hear from you. We look forward to hearing from you. Again, I'm really thankful for everyone who's listening. We appreciate your support. If you like what you're hearing, please leave us a review, donate, subscribe, share with a friend or a family member who might benefit from listening to this, or join our fan club over at Patreon, where you'll hear us share our peaks and valleys every week. And you'll have access to episodes before anyone else, very exclusive, along with some additional content that will be coming very soon. Thanks again, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Bye.